Okay, so my name is Brian, and this will be my sixth year, I think, of being with ASK. I was with them originally when they started as, what was it? Owl, yeah. And I love it. I mean, I couldn't ask any better people. Couldn't ask for a better event. I mean, the way they've got it organized, just the flow of things. I mean, it's awesome. I don't know how to describe it other than that. Yeah, I've gotten one doe, actually. That was my first or second hunt with them. No, I take that back. A doe and a spike. That was my most recent deer, was the spike.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, they're there. You just gotta be there when they're there. I've been to a few giveaways. Not many, but the way they run those, I mean, it's about like the banquets. It's smooth flowing. I mean, I would just encourage people that haven't been out or in groups like this, do it. I mean, you don't know what you're missing until you try. You may feel out of place in the beginning, but that flies by, flies over. Yeah, exactly. 100% family. You'll find somebody that you flow with.
My name is Sergeant Benjamin Fisher. I work for the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife, and I'm a conservation officer. As a conservation officer within the state of Kentucky, my job is to enforce the law. Our primary focus is KRS 150-235, which is hunting, fishing, and boating. However, as conservation officers, we do enforce all laws of the Commonwealth. Adaptive sportsman, as a conservation officer, we enjoy seeing all people partaking in the outdoors, hunting and fishing. And programs like ASK, which is Adaptive Sportsmen of Kentucky, or youth events like the Little Heroes Disabled Youth Hunts. Those programs are great for getting people outdoors that may not have the opportunity to do so on their own, or may think that it's a little bit too hard to do so on their own for some physical disability or mental incapacitation. So these programs do really good things for the Commonwealth and really good things for the public by getting these people involved. About 9 years ago, when I became a conservation officer, I knew that I wanted to put on a youth hunt, some type of youth event, and being a parent of a daughter that's got a disability, I chose to gear the event more towards that. About 8 years ago, we started what we call the Little Heroes Disabled Youth Events, and we take children with disabilities deer hunting in Nelson County, Kentucky. So we've been doing that for about 8 years now, and we really enjoy doing it. I'm not really sure who gets more out of it, the kids or us as officers. But basically we sit one-on-one with a kid, one conservation officer per one youth. We also allow a parent to sit with us as well. And then we hunt both days during the youth-only deer hunt weekend in October in an attempt to harvest that child's first deer. So, when deer hunting with disabled youth, we use a lot of ground blinds. A lot of these youth are immobile or have mobility issues, so we choose to not hunt from a stand. We think that is a little bit unsafe. So we do hunt from ground blinds. We get a lot of equipment donated from members of the community, people like Kentucky Gun Company or Cabela's, Academy Sports, Dick's Sporting Goods, places like that will donate ground blinds and tripods for the youth to use to steady firearms. And then it takes a lot of special equipment as well. We purchase a lot of our own equipment as far as like breath mechanisms, cell phone adaptable scope cam mounts. So if we have a child that's blind, or if we have a child that doesn't have any arms, we're still able to manipulate the trigger with a breath mechanism. And if they're blind, the officer is still able to sit beside the youth and see the crosshairs in real time through a computer screen, which allows the youth to harvest a deer that way. So it takes a lot of equipment, it takes a lot of time and a lot of patience to put that kind of stuff on, but we get a lot out of it. It's really important to get people involved in the outdoors. as a kid, I like to hunt and fish. I grew up, I'm an outdoorsman now. As a game warden, I am involved in the outdoors quite a bit, both in my job and in my personal life. And I think that just because somebody has a disability, or because it may be a little more difficult for somebody to partake in those events, I think you should know that you're not alone. There's groups like ASK, and there's groups like ours, the Little Heroes, where we strive to take people out and get them involved in the outdoors. We love to see you out there in the outdoors. You know, the outdoors is everybody's playground, so you know, it's not just for one group of people, it's for everybody.
My name is LaDonna Pearson, and I have been hunting with this Bernheim chapter. I started out with a guy from church kept asking me to, you know, come just to an event with us, and you'll like it, just come. And I'd grown up with a family full of hunters, but in my generation, typically the women didn't hunt. You know, I could go along and carry the varmint bag, but you know, not the guns and all that good stuff. None of the real fun stuff. It was all fun to me at the time, but you know, as a side note, if I had handled the guns more as a youngster, I probably wouldn't be in this chair, because it was getting familiar with the handgun that landed me in it. So dropping in, it discharged and paralyzed me from the waist down. So one of those freak things, but God's used it and blessed me with it. So, but anyway, this guy kept inviting me to the events, and I finally half-heartedly agreed to go. And it was a turkey hunt, because it was the particular group that I was with was the Turkey Federation out of Lexington. And we, I didn't see a bird that day, but I was hooked. As soon as I heard them come down, the noise from that was just amazing, and I was hooked. And I've been hunting every opportunity since that I can. The first hunt that I came here, I met some of the old timers that there's 2, 3, maybe that are still here. A little heartbreaking. Lost a lot of good friends, but I made some of the best. Probably my closest, dearest friend came from the first hunt here. He said, "You're not leaving here without me getting your number." And then he called me sometime later that spring. He said, "You've won a turkey hunt." And for those that know, it was Jimmy Martin, that he'd been hunting here with them for years at that point. But it just became family. Even though there's some that I don't know the names, familiar faces. They may not have been on my road. Even some of the core group that make it happen are no longer the same. But the people that are here, they may be new blood, they may be some of the original ones, but they are just, they have no idea the impact that they make. Even though I've had other opportunities to hunt, this is what got me started, and it's just priceless. They're countless hours setting up the blinds and putting out corn and setting up tables and taking down tables, or preparing food, or contacting the hunters, or just making sure we're taken care of when we're here. I'm thankful for all of them, whether I know them by name or not, or they're just great people. We typically don't get involved necessarily in the gun giveaways. I know that they're great big events. We live in Richmond, and so sometimes we just haven't seen fit to make that trip. I know a lot of people do, and a lot of people enjoy them. But anyway, we support in other ways, but that one we don't do as much. Be that participant or be that volunteer, you will not be disappointed. You know, I don't think there's a participant here that would tell you otherwise, and I don't think there's a volunteer here that would tell you they don't get more out of it than we do. And I don't see how that works, but it's just a phenomenal organization. Whether it started out as NWTF or AL or ASK, or I'm glad to see that they finally got it in their own control, in their own nonprofit, and able to keep the funds that they work hard to collect to stay where they want them to. So I think that's wonderful. And if they can branch that out, I'm sure that would be fabulous for everybody involved.
All right, so my name is Richard Rohr, and I started this mobility hunt about 4 years ago. I don't know exactly how I got involved with it, but I applied for it when I found it online, and then I got contacted, and it went from there. And then after all that started happening, and my buddy that just went before me on this interview, Dustin, I'd been doing a mobility hunt for about 8 years down in Prestonsburg, Kentucky, and I've begged him and begged him and begged him, and finally I got him on board with this one because it's closer to home for him. And after he did that, then he started going to Prestonsburg with me. So we actually do 2 hunts a year in Kentucky. Yeah, I've been to a couple of the Great Gun giveaways, and I recently came to the fishing one that they had this past year, and that's where they helped me get a van, which was much appreciated and much needed, as my van was getting to be on its last leg. So it helped out a lot. It has. It's made a big difference. Well, from a volunteer standpoint, I do a lot of volunteering, you know, with other stuff besides just hunting. I used to be on the fire department and that kind of thing, and I was very active in my community. And so from a volunteer standpoint, it's very rewarding to be able to help somebody. And this group is amazing at what they do. And I really wish I lived closer, because I would definitely be involved more than I am. I don't do much with this organization, but I'm like 3 hours away from here, so it's hard to do much. But anytime I'm asked to do something, you know, I chip in and help. But from a participant standpoint, it's phenomenal. It really is, and it's a family, and to be able to go back in the woods and just enjoy God's creation and the potential to even harvest something is a blessing in itself. Even if you don't harvest something, just being back there and getting acquainted with everybody that's involved is very rewarding in itself. So, you know, if you harvest something, that's just a bonus. You have a disability, it'd be awesome to hit them up and participate. Even if you don't know if you can do it. When my journey started, I guess it's been about 8 years ago now, I didn't think it was possible. And then a group of boys back home, they got together and they helped me. And the first year it was different, because all I had was like a trigger device. And then they had to, you know, help aim and stuff for me. And then after we got to doing some research and some fundraising, because the equipment in itself is expensive, so they done some fundraising, and we all got together and done that. And I got it's called the HQ 100 from Be Adaptive, and it's a plate that you sit on, and then there's like a pole that goes down in it, and it mounts to your chair. You plug it into a battery, and it's completely robotic, and you control every aspect of that. So from there on, I was able to do everything on my own, which is hard to fathom if you've never done it, because you don't think it's possible. But after that, you know, changed my life because now I'm able to do something that I've always wanted to do. So and that in itself was a blessing.
Okay, awesome.
And now that me and Dustin, we went to college together, and after we met and stuff, and like I said, I got him involved, and he just took off with it. He's very, very wanting to. He's not got to kill a buck yet, and of course, you know, I always pick on him about it, but we all go through that where we get picked on and all that stuff. But he's very excited. Now I'm trying to talk him into going turkey hunting, and I think Brian's going to help us do that next year, go on a turkey hunt together. So that'll be awesome. The boys that back home, they used to have a group, and they would record our hunts and everything leading up to the hunt and all that. And so I've got a couple of videos on YouTube from that, and it's an experience, and it's a brotherhood, and it's definitely rewarding.
My name is Dustin Bowman. I've been with the organization for 3 years now. I've done some things that I probably wouldn't have done anywhere else as far as, you know, the outdoors. I've done like skeet shooting that I've never done before I got introduced to the group. I've been on 3 or 4 deer hunts, and there's a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have done outside of the group if I wouldn't have met them. I mean, they're just an outstanding organization. I met them through a friend. His name is Richard Rohr. He's been a member of the group longer than I have. So and then he got me involved with higher up members, and then they got me where I am today, I guess you could say. I participate in the gun giveaways, and my family supports the group, and you know, we donate as much as we can because it's a great cause. And I'd recommend anybody that's into hunting or fishing, if they have anybody that's disabled or would be interested in doing, you know, what this group has to offer as far as hunting, fishing, you know, anything outdoors, I recommend, you know, they get them in it because it's been a great experience.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's brought me out of my box, I guess you'd say. Because I mean, it's just, you know, you meet people, and that's the biggest part of, you know, being a part of a group like this, meeting people, and, you know, just getting to know people, you know. I mean, that's probably the best part of it, I think. Yes, actually I did see it. Yes, I know what you're talking about because I remember seeing my track chair in it.
Yeah.
And I actually got the track chair donated to me from this group.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it's been a great organization, and I mean they've went above and beyond, you know, different things, and I mean you can ask them anything, and I mean if they can do it to help you, they're going to do it. I mean that's all I can really say. If this group can do it to help you, to get you out there, that's what they want to do. They want to get you out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, I can say that without 100% certainty because that's just everybody that's out there right now. If you had a son or a daughter that needed to get out there and go hunting, they would do everything in their power to get them out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's including loaning them equipment or whatever. I mean, whatever they would need, they would try their best to do it. And I mean, that's all you can ask for, I guess, you know. Don't hesitate. I mean, because it's been a life-changing experience for myself. And I mean, I can't really tell you how many ways it's changed my life.
All right. I'm Bridget King, and I am the owner of Adaptive Sportsman of Kentucky with my husband, Brian King. We got started with the organization around 11 years ago as volunteers, with my dad and brother and husband all volunteering. And then gradually I came into the picture, assisting on the weekends with lunch and helping everybody out. And then a couple of years ago, the previous organization had to fold during COVID struggles, so we decided to keep the organization here and local and just change the name and start it up. So that's how we came to be Adaptive Sportsmen of Kentucky, and Brian and I love doing what we do, and it's been a service project to the disabled for many years, but we're so glad to be able to call it our own now for the last 3 to 4 years. We got started with the first group because my dad and brother were asked to come and volunteer for this organization. That was great, and got the handicap outdoors to hunt and fish and do outdoor things. And my brother and my dad were sitters originally, and then we got suckered into it. We got suckered into this by someone saying, hey, you have a side-by-side, come help. We need to help transport people in and out of the woods. And so my husband Brian got tagged into this, and it's just been a snowball effect. We've just gone forward and been volunteering and served as officers and now owners of the new organization. The way that we find participants is by outreach and word of mouth. We try to use our Facebook platform, and we've reached out to local schools and hoping that word of mouth, because the disabled community has a great support group in and of its own, usually with things like the Special Olympics or local organizations in their counties like day programs. And so we hope that through word of mouth and then our Facebook platform and then reaching out to just, like the special needs directors in the schools, that they put us in contact with the right people. If you happen to be watching this and you're interested in participating or in being a volunteer, we ask that you reach out to our Facebook group. We also have a website, and we would love to hear from you. We can't do what we do without participants, and we can't do it without volunteers. It's definitely a combination process. We would love to have more disabled people get involved and to learn what we do, especially because we are able to do what we do free to the participants. So we don't want money or finances to be a struggle. And we would love to make contact with you and see how we can help you. And then if you're able to volunteer or loan us side-by-sides or help us financially with donations, or even come out to just serve food, like we have a place for everybody who has a heart for the disabled like we do.